Welcome to the Jehovah Chronicles with your host, Cosmon Cal.
The book of Jehovah, symmetry sung, heard his word, and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung, Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one. The book of Jehovah, symmetry sung, heard his word, and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung, Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one.
Before the earth took shape, new sound of sight, the creator sliced the time in the day and night. He breathed through void till the ether stirred, then sent angels and prophets to teach his word. Motion, notion, devotion aligned, encoded design in the spine of time. Wind wrote signs on the breath of the prime, S intertwined with the flesh of the line. Quicken the killer, conceiver entwined, dual divine, the ether confined, two entities birthed, corporate and S. Life compressed in the vortex nest, spirit in the mist, physics resist. Matter persist in Jehovah's fist. Dust kiss flame, play became twist. Anatomy gift from the infinite list. Male and female named through air. EOE, that sacred blare, not beast, not star. Not anywhere but the whisper of wind as a builder's prayer. Vortex speak, the sequence hum, the life resume. From void to bloom, to eat the groom, creation's womb. Every tune in the flames plume, a living rune. If your soul need food, here's what you consume.
The book of Jehovah, symmetry sung, heard his word and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung, Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one. The book of Jehovah, symmetry sung, heard his word and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung, Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one.
Three states of worlds I made, corporeal terrain, an atmosphere and chain to Etherian planes. Ether the pure, obscure domain. The ghost of light, free the soul from shame. Atmosphere, field and flow. AGA, nebula glow. Currents collide where the comets go. Gravity bend with the vortices, so sound became law. Law gave sight, and every soul aligned in Jehovah's light. His love gave reason and the heart retune. If your body need rest, here's the text to consume.
The book of Jehovah, symmetry sung, heard his word and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung, Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one. The book of Jehovah, symmetry sung, heard his word and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung, Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one.
Before the clay inhaled the spark, the plan was grand. See moose spun pulse through the dust of man. Ether expand to where the blueprint ran. Spirit tied to flesh by Jehovah's hand. Angels descended, intelligent warm. Walk with Azu where the light was born. Heaven breathed with immortal form. Lord met love and the veil was torn. The seed took root in the coil's perfume. Sense evolved under the sun and the moon. Time broke the sleep of a deep commune, and now man learns pattern from teeth to spoon, from breath to balance. The Most High drop clues from speech and sequence. The spirit world moved from page to prophecy through mahogany hues. If your mind need peace, here's the key to consume.
The book of Jehovah, symmetry sung,
heard his word and the world begun. Motion one, devotion sprung. Jehovah reigns for the chosen, the only one. The book of Jehovah.
Right back at it like I left some. It's your hostess with the mostest, holding that fire like a roach clip, your naga. Your nerve fresh up off of that curb jelly, jam and preserve, Cosmoni and the cloud picker, knock wakayiki right back up in this thing. Hey, love, light, balance out there to all the sons and daughters of the light. Um, uh, First and foremost, before we start anything, all praises to the ever-present creator, the one who always was, is, and never shall be, the precipitator of life and all corporeality. I know it's been a while since your boy Cosmon been on here. You dig what I'm talking about? So I had to step back in real quick, man. Just tapping in real quick. Just to give y'all a little heads up. Tonight, Sonetta called me last minute and asked if I wanted to come up there on Sonetta's and teach, or if I had something that I wanted to push on any, you know what I mean? And as I thought about it, no, I don't got anything I want to tell you. You dig what I'm talking about? Other than you dig what I'm saying? For the most part, that things that are unseen rule and dominate over things that are seen on all levels, and that applies even to man. Man has a part that you can see, and a part of man that is all real and nonetheless objective, but can't be seen. Right? It can't be seen. And that seen part is nonetheless dominated by what can't be seen. For instance, you can't see air, but you ever tried to live without it? Even though you can't see air, it's objective, right? So that is a part of man that is nonetheless objective but can't be seen. You dig what I'm saying? You can't live without it, and yet when that, you can't see it, but without that thing, that air that can't be seen, right? The physical body no longer holds life and begins to decay at that point. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You dig what I'm talking about? Shout out to everybody who came through, you know what I mean, tapping in. We got up in here. My Iman's better than your Iman. Mahalia. Mahalia is up in this thing. You dig what I'm talking about? My sister LaShonda's up in this thing. You dig what I'm talking about? Big shout out to my Aboriginal family out there. You dig what I'm saying? Y'all already know what it is. Nazarene is seeing faith. The shout out gang up in this thing. Mr. Dewan Yale, shout out to you, sir. CGG&D, you dig what I'm talking about? Coach Menard, shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. You dig what I'm talking about? Bronze, aka Sir Yogurt of Bronze himself, is in the house. The God. You dig what I'm talking about? Peace to you. You dig what I'm talking about? Love, light, balance out there to you and your whole family. You dig what I'm saying, man? I know that cold whooping on you down there. Trust me, I'm getting it up here too. You dig what I'm talking about? My brother Elijah up in this thing. You dig what I'm talking about? Bless words. You know what I mean? Indeed, you dig what I'm talking about? Peace. My brother Soul brother up in this thing. You dig what I'm talking about? Peace to you, King. He say, peace to the brother Cobb Kicker sitting in here plotting my snow removal plan. Boy, hey, listen, I got out there early today. Shout out my brother-in-law Paul. You dig what I'm talking about? He got me a electric snow blower for Christmas. Shout out to my brother-in-law Paul, man. That's my dog, man. I got out before it was too bad. It's -5 right now. You dig what I'm talking about? So we had to bring the dogs in and everything. You dig what I'm saying? Kennel them. As a matter of fact, let me put it little crazy butt up in here 1 second, y'all. You dig what I'm saying? Put his little butt up in there. And yeah, man, it's serious out this mug, man. Double up, bundle up, triple up. Man, your fingers get crazy cold out this mug. You dig what I'm talking about? I'm a true Michigan man, born and bred, raised up. You dig? And boy, now it ain't like I ain't been in some cold snaps before. It's been colder, y'all. But funny, what is precipitating the cold? They always talk crazy about you till you can show what you're saying in nature. Huh? Oh, you crazy, Cosmar. Well, what's creating this cold? The polar vortex. Yeah, I ain't making none of this up. You dig what I'm talking about? Angelic silver linings up in this thing. She say, all praise to the Most High Creator. Indeed, you dig what I'm talking about? Always was, is, and ever shall be. And indeed, Bishop X. It is the polar vortex. You dig what I'm talking about? That is pressing aja and pressure. You dig what I'm talking about? Actually on a flat. You dig what I'm talking about? Plane, right? Or not plane, but in the atmosphere. It's more flattened. You dig what I'm talking about? Causing more precipitation, dropping temperature. You dig what I'm saying? And when it's more curved, you dig what I'm talking about? It expands the light more. You dig what I'm talking about? And they call these cyclic coils, right? And at times these coils tighten, right? Precipitating what's in the higher atmosphere down to the earth. And this ought to be proof to anybody objectively who wants to see that the higher atmosphere is cold, freezing cold. So, now, mind you, the funny part about how our earth works is when we're in this winter season like we are right now, we're actually closer to the sun. The physical body is closer to the sun. It would seem like you should be in a warmer spot, but actually the warmer spot is in the southern parts of the hemisphere or the planet, because it's not only just floating on a pole perpendicular up and down at 0 degrees. It actually has a 23.5 tilt. So even though we're closer to it, the sun is tilted away from it, right? Allowing it to, I said it backwards first, to bulge on the side that's facing away from the sun, which is the northern hemisphere, even though we're closer. And the side that's facing the sun is more flat and direct and gets more direct rays. So even though in the summertime we're farther away from the sun because of the ecliptic because of the tilt of the planet, we're tilted towards the sun more and get more flat direct rays and hit hence hotter. You dig what I'm talking about? But we gotta even question that, because how is the sun purportedly giving light to the earth, right? They're saying that all the light we see comes from the sun, right? How is that possible if the space in between the sun and the atmosphere of the earth is pitch black with no light? Not saying it doesn't have photons, but it's not light, it's not visible. What if it is that the sun does shine but doesn't give off no light can travel 93 million miles unless it is first irradiated? So the sun is giving off radiation that passes through the photons, aligning them, which gives it the appearance that it travels, when it's not. It's just your perspective of the photon aligning itself up with the photon next to it. When the photon lines directly, the result is what we call light. Remember, photons don't hold charge, right? But what they do is also emit ion, right? Giving it a physical and non-physical balance for the radiation. You dig what I'm saying? Which is what we call light, the part that can be seen and the part that can't be seen. And this is why vacuums, perfect vacuums, don't exist, because even in the darkness of space, right? Even in the darkness of space, there's photons, or hence the potential for light. But see, what they don't understand is that also proves the creator and what he says, all is, all was, all shall ever be. So if the creator is the all, the only way that you would be able to prove the creator would be in the negative. And the negative is the fact that there is no such thing as nothing. If the all is the all, and ain't nothing outside of all, right? Well, logically, in real life, right, there should be nowhere in the world that we should be able to point at nothing, if all is all and all is one. Just chopping it up, man. This is why I told cuz, you dig what I'm saying? I ain't really want to. And plus, what I look like, you dig what I'm saying, going over there, you know, chopping it up with bruh, knowing that for years and years and years, these niggas been disrespectful to you, bruh. I done had to beat up on cousin. You dig what I'm saying? And you know, show out, and you dig what I'm talking about? All type of, you know what I mean? Go over there and let them know who's really boss. You dig what I'm saying? Really let them know what was going on, that it's a new sheriff in town, and that stuff that you've been getting away with, you can't get away with it no more. That's all that was. You dig what I'm saying? So I don't think that, you dig what I'm saying, that they got it really, you know what I mean? I hope they do, but I don't think that they really got it in them to, you know, just be real and ask questions and You dig what I'm talking about? And wait to get the answer, because you dig what I'm saying. The dope part about a wasp is you come with everybody come with questions, but you leave with a gang of answers. Whether you believe it or not, who cares? That's your subjective opinion. That's your belief. You dig what I'm saying? Don't nobody care. You dig what I'm saying? What you believe, right? That's on you. But if that alignment is with doing good, right? Doing that good for others. You dig what I'm saying? Doing good for others. Black Rain, what's up? Okay. Oh, that's Black Rain. Shout out to my dog Black Rain, man. James Giant up in here. What up? What's the word? Bishop X, what up? RBG up in here. Yop up in here. My little babe bro, huh? Proud of this guy here. You dig what I'm talking about? Proud of this young brother right here. Prince Judah Vaughn. You dig what I'm saying? That's my baby, bro. You know what I mean? We just gonna keep kicking it and chopping it, man. We supposed to be going live on Sonetter tonight, man. You dig what I'm saying? 9 p.m. House of Consciousness. You dig what I'm talking about? They called me last minute. So I didn't put no, you know what I mean? So but I told him, he was like, well, what you want to talk about? I said, well, I ain't got really nothing to push. You dig what I'm saying? So, let's just, call it conversation with Cosmon or something. You dig what I'm saying? And we can get into whatever conversation, because I know they got 1,000 different questions. And, over years, they ain't never kept it 100 with a nigga. Never, ever, ever kept it 100 with me. You dig what I'm talking about? So, you get the little backbiting and whatever, but what you ain't never noticed is nobody has ever debunked the game. If we say something, that's what it is. Huh? We not guessing. We not hemming and hawing and thumbing through the book and trying to this ain't lick it, like my brother say, lick your finger scholarship. Huh? This ain't no toss the grass in the air and see which way the wind blow. Right? It's faith, because it ain't got nothing to do with belief. It has to do with the level of knowledge. I got faith that 2 + 2 is always 4. Why? Because I got the knowledge that 2 + 2 is always 4. So if I see it 5, if I see it 3, guess what we know instantly? It's El Caparoni. There's something in the milk ain't pure, right? So they ain't never kept it 100 with your brother. So you dig what I'm saying? I always figure, you dig what I'm saying? It's better to be safe than sorry. So we got tons of stuff, and I know they gonna get into the old white guy and these people is this, and Oh, and you got to remember, none of these people have read Owaspy. None of them have took the time to care enough, like they say they do. They just regurgitate stuff. You dig what I'm talking about? They're fearful and scared of the things that they know not of. You dig what I'm saying? You know, it's the what they say is the lack of knowledge that killed my people. Huh? They say it's the lack of knowledge that killed my people. Yeah. Because fear keeps you not only keeps you tied to things, it keeps you away from other things. Huh? The reason, hey, wasn't the whole reason you wore the them little tassels as a Hebrew on your stuff was because you thought you could get stoned to death and then go to hell? Wasn't it fear? So you dig what I'm saying? I figured that I should, just keep it open. You dig what I'm talking about, and just talk about what's going on, because the whole point is to understand the creator and that there is a creator, and it's not what you call God. In fact, now the creator is the source of all understanding and intelligence and truthfulness, and you dig what I'm saying. So if you came at him with a full heart, you dig what I'm talking about, and truth, and you dig what I'm saying, and you called him God, he understands that, right? He understands that, especially if the highest ideal, if when you say God, you're thinking of the highest possible conceivable ideal. If when you're saying God, you're thinking that, trust me, he overstands. Huh? He created understanding. Come on, man. You dig what I'm saying? Thank you. Bless you. Thank you. So, you dig what I'm saying? Bless you. Thank you. You dig what I'm saying? You say the mic muted. There you go. Okay. Bright Mo Deezy, who up in this thing? Bright Mo. Peace to the chat, man. He say peace to the chat. Say came to show some love. Plus, you be having me thinking about that book. Hey, listen, bro. Listen, just read it. It's a book, bro. Listen, it can't bite you. Bright Mo. If by chance anything it say in the book, because it's not about who wrote the book, where it come from, blah, blah, none of that matters, right? It's about the information in it. If any of it whatsoever turns out to be in fact true, right? And I'm telling you, bro, it's a bunch of truth in that mug. It's the only book in the world that says the nigga is the American Indian. It's the only spiritual book in the world, purportedly from the creator of all things, huh? That says the Negroes of America is the Indians of America. If nothing else in the whole book, but what they saying about Indians and Aboriginals, because they talk about Aboriginals, the word is used in Owaspy. Aboriginal, Aborigine. You dig what I'm talking about? It's used, right? Understanding terms and all that, Native American and American Indian, it can be conflated, but they talking about the same people. They're talking, and then they describe them copper colored, brown, with long black coarse hair. That only describes one people in America. American Indians don't even have Native Americans don't even have coarse hair, nor are they copper colored brown. It gives a little different perspective on just about everything, especially the word Algonquin. Huh? You could listen. The word Algonquin if we were to use it today and fit it properly by its meaning, its initial meaning to what is objectively true today, when you say Algonquin, what you're saying is United States government. It's not necessarily a people. It's not necessarily a language. That's what other people on the outside called it. Algonquin means Egoquim, or out of many one, or union. Huh? He told Iwata 6,000 years ago, build the mighty nations and bring them together, because in Cosma, after 1848, the people in North America specifically will have combined union states. He said, this is the stuff that be in OWASP. So they're saying Algonquin or Ecoquim, or the Union of the American Indian States, was created in 3953 BC by the greatest prophet, I think, to ever touch this mug. Huh? The one that they don't talk about, the great Iwata. Huh? They misconflate him as Hiawatha, but that's only when the great Algonquin peacemaker, Iwata, gave it to Hiawatha. Remember, Hiawatha was a warrior. He had to go to somebody who was already practicing peace. They never they tell you about everybody else great prophet. I'm telling you, the greatest prophets, Abraham, Brahma, and Poe, right, of Asia, were contemporaries with the great prophet of America, Iwata. They were all born in the year 3993. They were all 40 years old when they did their great work. All 40, all born at the same time. There was a reason they were born at the time that they were. There a reason that why when you see descriptions or hear about descriptions of Brahma, or the first great prophet of Asia, Poe, confused with Confucius, and what do they call his name? Well, he's a fat black god that rides a tiger, and his name is Tien. Tien. Crazy part is Owaspi says that too. Owaspi says the god at the time was called Tien too. That's crazy. Now that Tien is the name God in Asia. It signifies God but heaven. But that deity is a brown man who rides a tiger. Tien. Right? It's so much stuff going on that, to try to be pigeonholed into one little talking point would be crazy. And I know y'all gonna try to come with the white man stole, the white man. You dig what I'm saying? I know y'all about to come with that. I know y'all gonna come with all the rumors that you can get on a 5-second Google search. Why has nobody, since the inception of the game in 2020, since the inceptions of the game, why ain't nobody debunked what we saying? Huh? Why it makes so much sense when we say it? How are we saying a thing both spiritually and physically, but then able to back it up not only objectively with text, but objectively in real time. Huh? If we would, we got we got different ways of looking at things. You dig what I'm saying? That wouldn't necessarily be bad. You dig what I'm talking about? If people took the time to actually look into them. But they would rather be right than righteous. And so this is why we walk soft but carry a big stick over here. We will beat your wig off. We tripping on your gods over here. But if you're gonna have a conversation, you dig what I'm talking about. It's a must. You try to keep it cordial, but we know what it is, huh? We know what it is. Our understanding don't, huh? They understand it. It's threatened by our understanding. You dig what I'm talking about? But while everybody else talking, we showing it. You can be mad at us, but we showing it. Hold on, let me see if I can share this. Let me see if y'all can see this. All right. This is a visual representation of the arc cycles. There's a belief system out there called flat Earth, right? They don't think the Earth moves. They don't think anything moves. Basically, they think we just steal and everything. Basically, well, it depends on who you asking. Certain people say the sun is like these little balls that spin in the sky, only about 30,000 feet, 3 miles in the sky, or something like that. And there's certain people who think it's just a flat, infinite plane, but you can't walk that flat, infinite plane. Certain people think that the north, if it's flat, it's two-dimensional, right? So it can't have depth. So how is there a north? Right? And I heard somebody say that spiraling in a circle is going east and west. But it's still, how do you do that on a flat plane? Right? It's still two-dimensional. How do we stand up? We would be laying on the ground. Wouldn't be no mountains, no hills, no. So they got this understanding out there. You dig what I'm saying? But we bringing a different type of light. You dig what I'm saying? We just bringing a different type of light at this time, right? And we're saying that from the creation of mortals to our present time, right, is roughly only about 78,000 years. Now, we also saying man has millions and millions and millions of years of being on and off the planet. Man has been made multiple times, right? But in this era or in this dispensation, right? The upright talking animal of the earth, right? We're bringing out a new understanding that this evolutionary theoretical belief that um, you know it takes millions and billions of years for these actions to take place, or that you did what I'm talking about. Man doesn't have an even longer history on the planet, right? Than even their evolutionary theory, and that evolution in and of itself is a thing done upon the individual by itself. It's the evolution is how it reacts in its environment. No animal can do that. No animal can change the way it interacts within its environment, with especially without a human teaching it uh to in a way react a different way than it would normally, right? So man is in a sense the only thing that would evolve, but the evolution comes spiritually and mentally. Again, another thing that you can't see. Hey, dominating and ruling over a thing you can see, the physical body and the brain. Because a lot of people don't understand the brain and the mind aren't the same thing, right? But in this new understanding, the way that it's taught by the Great Spirit through his angelic beings is that a lot of these things are so powerful, they happen very fast. And it doesn't take a trillion years to do anything. And then the whole fact that there is a Cambrian explosion and a Cambrian collapse. First of all, lines 100% with what Owaspy tells you. But secondly, it told you it before they knew what the Cambrian explosion was. And then it tells you why it happened, right? Because it was the infusion of oxygen onto the planet. From there, we get an explosion of life. Owaspy even explains how the air was cleaned and where the resulting material went. It's different, right? So you dig what I'm saying? I wanted to we got a whole different way of looking at time. These are the arc cycles. And what we're saying is roughly 73,000 years ago, right? Upright talking man, right? Like me and you popped onto the earth. Not because he just popped up magically. He was bred that way. Why? Because look, for 6,000 years prior to the birth of the first era in man, called in the biblical narrative Abel, right? Or the Ions, right? The first intelligent people, the first to get it, right? They're saying man in his beastly stage, which is what they're misunderstanding evolution as. Man didn't by himself come from this beastly stage without outside pressure, without an outside force. Man would still be in his first beastly or childlike stage, right? A point of no knowledge, unable to give or retain. Just like in all stories everywhere, don't matter which one you pick, an angelic being mixed with a human or tailored the genetics of a human being. Same thing go on in a WASP, but explain it a much different way. Because once you understand what an angel is, it kind of takes the spooky out of it. Right? And why these certain angels would breed with a beast like man. It don't make sense, right? You a high raised angel, you got all this knowledge, and why did you come down here and be beast with breed with this beastly looking man? And because of the your injection of higher raised genetic, your higher raised genetic pocket, you dig what I'm talking about? It raised the resulting offspring up. That thinking upright offspring is now called man. Before that, he would have been what you call Asu or Adam or mankind, a kind of man. Well, Owaspie explains that 6,000 years before the birth of people like me and you, or the breeding of people like me and you, man in his early stages had already existed. And this is Owaspie clears up a great discussion too on the hominin discussion. Which one came first? How do you get all these breeding stocks of the hominids, right, to hone down into these couple stocks of hominin, right? And then how does that hominin stock then turn into man? It's not no trick. It's called sex. It's called genetics. Huh? It's called hybridization. Hmm? Hmm? Shout out to my folks. You dig what I'm talking about? You dig what I'm saying? Over there at the Bulldog game, you dig what I'm talking about? They know about hybrid vigor, right? But hybrid vigor don't come when you mix a wolf and a dog. Hybrid vigor works when you mix wolf with wolf, dog with dog. Just two different familial lines of dog. Huh? So that means the angelic being, the Anunnaki, the Neter, the whatever you want to call it, that came down here and bred with this early beast man was a man too. Huh? Had to be. Why? Because the resulting offspring, for the most part, of all animals who are not in the same species, or I ain't gonna say the same species, they are hybrids of two animals that are in the same different species but are in the same genus. Like dogs and wolves are not the same species, they're different animals. But dogs and wolves are both in the genus Canidae or canines. They're both canines. And because they're canines, they can interbreed. Sometimes with dogs, a wolf dog hybrid can sometimes go on to breed viable offspring with other dogs. But for the most part, and I'm saying 98%, right, it don't work. The resulting offspring is always sterile. For instance, with the horse and the ass, it makes the donkey. The donkey is sterile. Hmm? When you mix the tiger and the lion, it produces a liger. The liger is sterile. So the only way that man, the able or the first men, right, were able to breed and repeat, and you did what I'm talking about, and had viable offspring, was only because the initial people mixing with beast man of earth were also men too. And this is what they don't get about angels. Angels ain't this spooky thing that existed. You dig what I'm talking about? Prior to man. Yeah, there were angels that existed before the earth existed, but that's only because there were men that existed in other places before the earth existed. I hope you're not small-minded enough to think that earth is the only place in all of alldom. Remember, ain't nothing outside of all. In all places that could exist. Right? Just think, if 1% of all the quadrillions of planets, 1%, right, could and do inhabit and have man-like life on it. Let's just say 1%, right? That would alone be billions of planets. But let's just, that would be trillions of planets. But even if you took 1/10 of 1%, that would be billions just out of what we can see. You know, there's more planets that they can count. It's innumerable. Because the more they look, the more that's there. It ain't no end to it. Now, I wanted to give y'all a little understanding of the arcs, right? And how we break it down. Like the very first arc cycle, right? Each arc, first of all, an arc cycle is roughly a 3,000 year span of time, right? For instance, remember your Bible, right? And it said this in the also in the Mahabharata, also in the Vedic text, also in the Quran, that God made the sun and the moon to tell time with and to dominate the night and the day so man could have light, and you did what I'm talking about, you know, be able to tell seasons, weeks, dates, all that stuff, find your holy days. But the problem with that understanding that God is giving you, that you can tell time with the sun and the moon, the only problem with that is after he tell you that's what it was made for, he doesn't then turn around and teach you how to use the sun and the moon to tell time. How do we know objectively that he didn't teach anybody in any religions, but actually curtailed it and kowtowed it to the Abrahamic religions, who curtailed it and kowtowed it through Greco-Roman ideology, and now into America ideology, through Christianity again, through Islam again, Buddhism, Brahmanism. Through none of them, right, have they taught you how to tell time using the sun and the moon. Check. If they shown you, if y'all got a system that they've been hiding from Cosmon, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Right? The very first arc cycle, or 3,000 year period since the creation of man, man gets created, time starts to be told to him so he can regulate it. Over the years, we've lost the understanding. Certain people have lost the understanding on the major scene. And because of false entities and deities that we now call Christ and the Abrahamic gods, Allah, Buddha, Brahma, all of them. You dig what I'm talking about? We have been corralled into an understanding of only Justinian or Gregorian time telling. Some people even use Hebraic or Babylonian telling ways of telling time, but you know, they only extend back to 3761 as at the most. That's 3761 BC. Remember, in America, we already had the United States, the United American Indian States in America in 3953 BC. So 200 years before that, we already was doing what we're doing in the Republic. He created a republic 22 years less than 6,000 years ago. Huh? So the very first arc cycle, right, is a 3,000 year period right up here. And we tell the timeline and how we know that the religions haven't taught the people how to use the sun and moon to tell time is that they don't have a chart to tell time with. They don't got a chart that they could lay it out to people that is ran by the sun and one ran by the moon to tell time. Then you can start going back. Now look, a lot of people hate on dinosaurs and all that and whatnot. You dig what I'm saying? Okay, I get it. But look, they saying that the great serpents were created in the timeline 91,370 BC. 90,000 BC, not 400 million years ago. So with that, we come with a different type of understanding. You dig what I'm saying? And look, see, when you're not lying, first of all, you can just explain your position. People can take it or not take it, right? But everything we showing you is backed by mathematics. We're just giving you the names and showing you how we tabulated, calculated, and we don't try to necessarily just overthrow science, but we don't just blindly go along with it either. But the dope part, let me tell you about something about Owashby that I always thought was dope about it. That if we do say something, it's backed up by science. Everything. It's all about perception. At that point, you dig what I'm saying? This is a way to break down time. See, time is cyclical, and all time is measured in what is called arcs. Funny. Right? that are cycles, right? First, second, third, fourth, fifth. Cycles are called arcs. The amount of years are called arcs because it's not only a space, it's or a time, it's also a space. This is space and time being measured. So just like time and space on Earth is measured in arcs, I thought it was dope that in Owaspie they called the great measure of time an arc. You think that's by chance? Remember, Owaspie is dropping this before there was a global positioning system to prove that what Owaspie is saying is correct. Because they have a science now. Again, everything I'm saying is backed up by science. Not that I agree with it, but it just agree with me. It agree with what the creator say. Why? Because it's objective. He ain't gonna tell you nothing that you can't figure it out. So these arcs are measured in 3,000 year periods. But we're going to get down into here right here. And these are the names of the cycles. Because see, everything that they give us, they try to give our people. You dig what I'm saying? And I'm talking about Aboriginal nigger folk everywhere. You dig what I'm talking about? The society as a large knows you're extremely special. They know it. So not only do they tell you what is false is real, they tell you what's real is false. And then if they can't get you to believe it right then they demonize it. Huh? Oh, that's the devil. That's the devil. You better not go over there, Carmine. It's the devil. Ain't that what they did with the number 33? Huh? Oh, the 33, that's a Masonic. No, you better not even say 33, Cosmon. You better not say it. That means you with the devil. Ain't that the type of fear mongering that's being pushed? Am I making this up? You bet it's a Masonic 33. You got 33 vertebrae, Cosmon. The Masons told you. Ain't that the type of fear-based doctrine that's being pushed about 33? Huh? But what if I told you 33 was the key to prophecy? Not only the key to prophecy, the key to tell time. Because see, while y'all was worried about, the Masons and the Masons, Tesla told you Negroes that 369, was a resonant frequency to all creation. But what he was doing was dumbing down the 33, the 66, and the 99. These are generations. They're measured in years. Don't they even try to tell you that a generation is a mama to her daughter, or a mama to her granddaughter, to her great granddaughter? They try to tell you that's a generation. That's not a generation. A generation is 33 years. But the problem is, if you don't start in the right place, you're going to end up in the wrong place. 1/3 of a generation is called an ode. 11, 22, 33. Right? Times that by 3, you got 33, 66, 99. Tesla was right. And y'all just don't see it. There is rhythm in it. There is mathematics at its base. But nobody taught us. Did you know these odes? See this word right here? The name of the cycle is called an ode. It's an 11-year span of time. Did you know that the sun runs on 11-year cycles? If you knew that, hit me with a 1 in the chat. If you knew that the sun runs on 11-year cycles, and every 11 years, just like we had in 2025, it flares up. Why? You don't know how to read what you're looking at. Y'all know the sun flares up 11 years and is on an 11-year cycle count. For the most part, y'all know that. But y'all didn't know that time was called an ode. And it's an 11-year cycle that can be measured. An ode is 1/3 of a generation, or 33 years. 1/3 of 33 is 11. Right? So 3 generations, or 9 odes, is a century, or 99 years. But here's the trick. Because if it's 3, 6, 9, right? Well, then there ain't no definitive 33s, right? It's 33.3. So for every 3 generations, or for every century, you add 1 year. Every century you add 1 year. 33 plus 1 equals 100. So ain't a century 100 years? If a century is 100 years, hit me with a 2 in the chat. I don't know. I could be wrong. But ain't a century 100 years? Right? So what we didn't know was these are measures of the sun and the moon. They got us looking at us physically only. When you talk about generations and centuries. Remember, what is 6 generations, or 2 centuries, right? 6 generations, 6 times 33 is 198. But remember, every 100 you add 1. So 100, then another 100. 198 plus 2 is 200. 6 generations, 198 years plus 2 is 200. Is it starting to make a little sense? Remember in the Bible when they talk about times and half times? This is what they were talking about. A time is 12 generations, or 400 years. A half time is 6 generations. So a time and a half time would be 18 generations, or 600 years. So when you see that, right, in your text next time, understand that that's what's being said. When they're talking about and a time passed and at a certain time and all that, A time is a 400-year span. A half time is a 200-year span. Huh? Now, remember, 12 generations, right, is 400 years. Right? 18 generations is 1,600 years, a time and a half time. That's 600 years. Right? That's this 200 plus this 600. Well, 90 generations, right? So for every one of these, right? This is 890, uh, 8, uh, 2. Anyways, right? You end up with 90 less than 3,000. That's 2,910. And you add these 9, right? These 30 basically back, or excuse me, these 90 into this final count, and you get 3,000 years as an arc cycle on average. Now, an arc cycle can be as low as 600 years, or a time and a half time, or 2,400 years, or as much as a time and a half time, or 600 years, or 3,600 years. Proof. Let's go back up and show it. All right. Let's go back up and show it. Look here. The 23rd, right here. Look right here. 23rd arc cycle after the creation of man. See, creation of man way up here. Right. And when we say the creation of man, we're talking about thinking man. Right. Down here in the 23rd arc cycle. Right. It's 2,400 years. But if you go back and then look, the 23rd arc cycle, which is 2,400 years, has a name. It's called Spita. Right? Remember time and place? It's a name. Right? It's called Spita. Remember, these are called arcs. And in 3953 BC, 4 great covenants were made. Right? That ended, right, in 2,400 years later, in 1553 BC, with covenants being fulfilled with the people of Asia, India, and Africa, and America, all at the same time. Right? They start with one prophet in 3953 BC and finish up with another. For instance, in the Hebraic understanding, it starts with Abram, 3953 BC, right here. Right? He's 40 already. Right? And ends with 2,400 years later with Moses walking the Israelites out of Egypt, 1553 BC, right as Amos is taking control of northern Delta region and expelling his adopted mother and father, Amenemhet III, and Sobek Nephru from out of the Delta region. That happens 1553 BC. This is why Amos writes the expulsion of the Hekakasu, right? Because it happens during his time. But we see right here that it can be as low as 2,400 years right here. But if you go right up to the seven arc cycles later, 6 arc cycles later, to the 17th arc cycle, which is, by the way, called Noah. Get it? Noah's ark, the ark of Noah. Get it? See, the ark, right? The ark has a name, right? They're roughly 3,000 year periods. But remember, we're showing you they could be as much as 3,600 right here in the 17th, or as low as 2,400, which is a what? A time and a half time. This is how you measure time, y'all. I'm not making up none of this. A era, or 360 generations, is 12,000 years, right? 4 arcs, right? 1 arc is 3,000 years. 4 arcs is 4 times 3,000 equals 12,000. A gadol, right, or 720 generations, or 8 arc cycles is 24,000 years, right? And it is these 2 ages right here, right? The era and the gadol, right? That when we apply those to the history of known man on earth, it opens up Pandora's box and starts to call into question what we know as carbon dating, right? Because it is through the belief that carbon dating and scientists are giving you the actual factual dates, when in fact they're trying to fit a date inside of an evolutionary theory instead of standing on their own and just telling the truth of what the numbers are, right? But when we find that we apply the 12,000 year count, or the era, right, and the gadol count, or the greater and lesser count, right, to the history of man, right? And with the lesser era, and then to the history of the earth and man on the earth with the greater era, it starts to a great thing starts to be revealed. You dig what I'm talking about? See, when you breaking down using the sun and the moon to tell time, right? By the way, the moon count time in America is called Wapayagi, or the turtle, or the they call it tappin count, right? Same thing that you see in on the roof of the Dundera temple to Hathor with Isis. It gives you the Wapayagi, or the turtle count, right on the ceiling. Makes you start thinking the question when they say that they are the most Westerners and they migrated from the West. But this 3,000 year cycle is broken down into 7.5 times, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? The first in an arc cycle, let's just take our current time we're in Cosmon, right? The first 6 generations, or 200 years. Then you got 12 generations, which is 400 years. Then 12 generations, which is 400 years, and 12 generations, right? And each one of these times, the ruling angelic being is switched out. This is what they don't understand about what's going on with true God and the true goddess, right? There may be an overall angelic being who rules the ark and dominates the ark, but many times they have other places to also rule. So they sit high raised angels in their proxy, right? So hold on, let me drop down a little bit. And you see these times, 1 time and half times. You right? You got 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 times make up a arc cycle, or 3,000 years. Look, 7 times 400 is 2,800 plus 200 years, 3,000 years, y'all. It's mathematics. But what was not explained to us is that there is a succession of lords and gods and goddesses all during this time. While the overall, that'd be like the a while a a CEO does the overall managing of a company, he doesn't do the daily work, right? He has a person who comes in who works in his stead, a CFO or a president or a vice president. There's order and system going on earth. So why wouldn't you think that order and system already existed in the heavens, and that is where man got his idea from? Because when we see these things start to pop up on the planet, right, they pop up whole, already created, done, right? Language come on, they start writing. You dig what I'm talking about? They start writing the 1,000 different, but it's a complete language. How? Because it comes from things that pre-existed, and a lot of this stuff is given an inspiration. It don't come from man, it comes through man, right? To show you, this is another way of looking at time right here. This is a cyclical time chart. This is what time would look like. It doesn't look like this. We do this because they it makes it easier. It makes time look lineal when in fact time is secular, repetitive. Now, if you look at these sections right here, see these sections, these 4 big sections, each one of these are 36,000 year sections. If you count it up, you dig what I'm talking about? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 30. Each one of these is a 3,000 year span of time. Right? 36,000 years. Right? This is where they saying hominids popped onto the planet 6,000 years before niggas like me and you came on. But look, the Triassic period. This is Tyrannosaurus Rex, and this is all that, right? Is on the earth at the same time man is. Mammals, all that stuff is on the earth at the same time. Look, the Paleozoic era, right, where poisonous plants and serpents and all that stuff start to come up on the planet. Look, that's only what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 18,000, 90,000 years ago. Where did the plants even come from? You dig what I'm talking about? How are they existed? Why? Right? They were in what they call the archaic eon, where they were crushing gases on the planet. But that, guess what? All the stuff that kills man, plants love. So the plants would have been giant, big, dumb, stupid plants way up in the clouds. The crazy part is we hear these stories and the great cedars of Lebanon, the great redwoods of America, and they already telling us these are remnants, right? So these eras, the Neogene era, the mid-Miocene, which are millions of years ago per carbon dating, are only actually thousands of years ago per the creator. Right? Now, this brings us to the Cosmon theory of rational carbon dating, right? Basically, there's problems with carbon dating, right? But by applying the science of the timetable of prophecy to history and science, a startling correlation was observed when cross-referencing the data. See, that by using two known proven historical events at the 12,000 year mark and at the 24,000 year mark, right? Remember the era and the Gadol, right? That by using two known proven historical events, one, right, that happened 24,000 years ago, is the Laurentine glacial maximum, which correlates directly to the great deluge in the Ark of Noah 24,000 years ago, or 22,553 BC. It says that the Laurentine glacial maximum happens between 26,000 and 20 BC, whose mean is exactly 23,000 years, right? So, which would make it about 22,000. Anyways, right? The Ark of Noah is exactly 24,000 years ago. Funny that it's saying that the Laurentine glacial maximum is between 24 and 20. And guess when the Laurentine glacial maximum, and guess when they're saying the great deluge happened. Huh? Look, guess when they're saying the great deluge happened? Roughly 24,000 years ago, roughly. Right? In between what? 23 and 19 BC. 23,000 and 19,000 BC. Owaspy is saying this great deluge, which caused the Laurentine glacial maximum, is happening. Science turns around and says that in between 26 and 20, the same time, Owaspy is saying that it's happening, that we got the Laurentine glacial maximum going on. That's at 24,000. That's the Gadol degree. But when you apply the lesser cycle, or the era, or the 12,000 year cycle, 12,000 years ago from today, or from the beginning of our common arc cycle, which is the 25th, right? We're in the 25th, which started in 1848, by the way. It says that 12,000 years ago, right? Using that era count, right? That we find ourselves in the Younger Adrias, which correlates directly to a time of falling nebulous material. Even science tries to connect this with a comet fall and impacting the planet, dropping the temperatures. They're kind of right. The science is wrong. But they're kind of right. It did have something to do with the comet, but not a comet impact. What happened was a comet came past our planet, and the gravitational pull of our atmosphere rained its tail down into the planet, literally blocking out the sun for many years, dropping temperatures, hence Younger Adrias. This happens, starts to begin the year 10,953 BC exactly. Science says it began 10,800 BC. So Owaspy even shows itself more specifically on point. But it's not the point. The point is that at these times, we find major historical cosmological events going on at the same time. with their explanations being given in Owaspy, correlating to the exact same times. That's just a coincidence. Understanding they didn't know anything about Younger Dryas or the Laurentine Glacial Maximum 1882 when Owaspy was written. So how is it even given this? Right? Now, when were the last glacial maximums? Right? We gave you the we showed you that the last glacial maximum occurring between 2600 and 20,000 years ago, while the general pattern of cooling and glacier events around the globe was similar. Local differences make it difficult to compare the details from continent to continent. But by the way, the Ark of Noah lasted 23,153 to 19,553, explaining the 20,000 year date given for the end of the Ice Age. That's only 447 years. Owaspy, super on point. Now, the most direct recent cooling, which a lot of people get mixed up with the Ice Age, right? Because really, the Younger Dryas ain't an Ice Age, right? The glacial maximum is an Ice Age, but the Younger Dryas is the recent cooling that began around 12,800 years ago and ended around 11,700 years ago, also making the end of the Laurentine glacial and the Pleistocene epoch. It was followed by the Holocene, which is the current geological epoch that we are in right now. Right? Science thinks that this was an impact field, that actual craters hit the ground. And we're not saying that they're not craters there, right? We're saying they didn't cause Younger Dryas, or nor did they cause the melting of the snow. I got a whole nother theory and understanding on how do you melt a glacier so fast that you cause at least national flooding to where you create an inland sea in the Americas. A lot of people don't know that we had an inland sea in the Americas. But see, by applying the timetable of prophecy and the Gadol degree as a measure of 24,000 years of Earth time, we are able to tabulate that roughly every 1 million years of carbon dated time equals roughly 240 actual Earth years. See the problem with carbon dating? So here's the cosmonic radiocarbon conversion chart, right, of the greater cycle of the Earth. This is for the Earth, right? So when they give you carbon dated things of the Earth, right, and they tell you it's 1 million years old, keep in your mind that it's only actually roughly 240 years old. And if they tell you it's 10 million years carbon dated, it's only 2,400 years in actual years. You see how that changes up the time, and you see how that evolutionary timeline keeps you in this mystic, spooky area where you never really get to focus on you and to see the greatness of your people and to understand that you had societies here in the Americas 50,000 plus years ago with virtually everything that we got today. Super societies, right? This is the understanding of your Lemuria, your Atlantis. They're types of government and understanding and remembrances of ancient times. These wasn't no dumb people. And I'm not saying Lemurian Mu and all that stuff is real, because all those are remembrances of an event that did happen 24,000 years ago. Remember, it was the sinking of Pan that caused the Great Flood and the Laurentine Glacial Maximum. 24,000 years ago. 22,553 BC exactly. I'm not guessing. I ain't guessing. Right? Because look, what happened? Hold on, let's go back. What happened in the 17th ark cycle during the Ark of Noah? What? The flood of Pan. Y'all don't even know. The continent that got flooded, that caused the flood, is now the Florida Pacific. I'm talking about the event was so cataclysmic, it created the Rockies, the Sierra Madres, and the South America mountains all at the same time, and it created every volcano in the Ring of Fire all at the same time. There's only 5 that are older than volcanoes that are older in those regions, right, around the Pacific Ring of Fire. All the rest of them were made all at the exact same time. They're the same age. Right? So if that's true, well, when they get to acting up, wouldn't all of them start to acting up at the same time? If that's true. I'm just saying. Don't that make sense that if they got messed up at the same time, when they get to messing up, they would mess up at the same time? Yeah. Guess what's happening today? Y'all better go look at what's going on with the Pacific Ring of Fire. I'm saying that is a physical representation of a galactic, a cataclysmic event, a cataclysmic genetic bottleneck event 24,000 years ago. A natural event that can be proven by the scars left by Earth. That's called geography. I'm just saying. How else do the Rocky Mountains get there? They're not even, they should, listen, mountains are created when continents touch and stuff smash into each other. They raise up and buckle. What the hell buckled all the way over there in Colorado? That's in Middle America. What smashed into the coast that made the middle buckle? Scientists will tell you, man, the Rockies are an anomaly. They shouldn't even be there. They shouldn't be there. So what smashed into the coast? It's like having a good blanket. You dig what I'm talking about? You know, you're having a blanket on your bed and it's flat. If you smash your hand into the outside, it's going to create a wrinkle in the middle. What smashed into the coast or the western coast of America that caused the crinkle in the land to create a mountain? We know that happens when continents touch. Did a continent subduct under America? Yes. How did that happen? When did that happen? They tell you it's millions of years ago. We found out that million ain't really that long ago, right? They tell you, hold on, what they call it? Pangea happened 100 some thousand BC, 100,000 BC, 100 million BC. They tell you that Pangea happened 100 million BC. Well, if you take carbon dated, if you take the carbon dated date of 100 million and apply it to the cosmonic theory on carbon dating, that bring you right to 24,000 years. Huh? Exactly, listen, exactly when we saying, hold on, let me go back. Exactly when we saying the continent of Pan was sunken, which caused the great deluge, or what we know is the flood during the ark of Noah. 17th arc cycle right here. Damn, my thing messing. 17th arc cycle right here, a 3,600 year period from what? 23,153 BC. 3,600 years later is 19,553 BC. They're telling you from 26 to 96 it cooled. Then it's from 26 to 19 it cooled. We're not debating that, but we saying 600 years after this date, just like after 23,153, all right? Just like they say during the time of Noah, 600 years later the flood came, we saying the same thing. But we're not using the allegorical telling of Noah, because Noah ain't a man. Noah is a time. Noah is an ark, not a boat. 8 people didn't get on boats and save the world. 12,420 people got on the boat, on 138 boats, and shipped to the 4 major land masses in the world, and they repopulated them areas. Those people go on to take historic names that have always and will always be in the lexicon of man. Ham, Shem, Yafet. But you're only telling 3 parts of a 5-part story. And just by common sense, America proves that there's another great landmass. So who goes to that land and repopulates that landmass? Those people are called Guatemala. And the place that they land after the great deluge is today called Guatemala, or the land of the great crossing. Guatemala means the great cross, or the land of the 4 tribes. This is why, especially in North America, we have a 4 corners region. Right in that 4 corners region, we have a ancient, massive society. Oh my God, I can't wait till I get some money and I can go down in the Chaco Canyon, because I know what they don't know. And I ain't about to tell it. But I know what they don't know. But if you want to see a crazy society carving up mountains, hold on, let me show you all this. Hold on, because they're going to say, Cosmon, you lying, cuz. You ain't show us Chaco Canyon, cuz. What you mean? I'm saying that thousands and thousands of years ago, you dig what I'm saying? These people had the ability to literally carve mountains, right? And make the mountains their living structures. Hold on, let me show y'all some of this stuff real quick. Get y'all some images of Chaco Canyon. Make sure y'all can see that. Let me blow this up real quick. Yeah, this Chaco Canyon. Look at this. Right in that same region, that 4 corner region, is a society don't nobody know nothing about, but they carving up whole mountains and making society. Look, this the same culture that when Cortez and them get here in America that Montezuma and them is occupying. These things that were carved, these massive cities carved directly out of the mountain. This is called the Chaco culture. And it's in, I want to say some things, right? I want to say some things, but this is not, y'all see this? This is in Chaco Canyon. That's not what they think that is. These are called mesas or bluffs. I know this gonna sound crazy. Y'all. But what if this is not exactly what it seems to be? What if y'all see this picture right here of this remnant that's battered down, broken, and look, a lot of this stuff is circular, domed. So it would have had that crazy strength like the Roman arch and all that stuff. You dig what I'm saying? So whatever broke and battered all this, right? Because when the Puebloans got over there, Chaco had already been gone. Right? They just found remnants. They found this when the Puebloans got there. Right? But what if, hold on, let me go back up because I want to get a good view. Okay, here go one. Let's blow this up real quick. Let me share this. See, this is that Chaco Canyon. Right? Look at the structures, how they built up, right? This is called the Fajada Butte, right? It's noted for the sun dagger hierophany or hieroglyphics, a petroglyph spiral. Listen, those of the faithers know what this is. And when you can tell time with the sun and the moon, what do you think they're doing with the representation of the vortex? This is why it looks like a serpent. They're following the movement of the great sun, the great star. It is called the Great Serpent or the Tao Sang here in the Americas. You dig what I'm saying? Right? And when you got that understanding, right, in these places where it's lined up, y'all think that is just by chance is a vortex in the middle of in the middle of the Faja Butte that lines up directly with the sun on the solstices? You think that's by chance? The Faja Butte is noted for the sun dagger hierophany, a petroglyph spiral behind slabs of rock, which framed zenith passage, sun, moon, moonlight as a unique, complex seasonal calendar. What if I told you we wasn't looking at it right? What if and y'all can call me pseudo if you want to. What if we also looking at, just like all the other temples were aligned with the sun, what if we're looking at the remnants of an ancient? What if what they think ain't got nothing in it but rock has spaces in it? Huh? What if that's the misunderstanding of a lot of these caves and why they lead usually in the center to a large center room? Because maybe they not what they telling us they are, right? I'm not saying that this is a fact, but we got a culture who is literally carving mountains up to make their homes. Huh? Is it such a far stretch that they're just a remnant of an older culture that was probably better than them at it? Just like we can't build a pyramid, huh? But nonetheless, them ancient niggas is nonetheless our ancestors, historically in time. You see what I'm saying? So we can't say that just because we are so advanced that there weren't things that the ancients could do that we can't do today, because we know for a fact that there are many things that the ancients could do that we can't do. But what if I'm just saying, what if we got the wrong vision? What if they just telling the lie? What if they just telling a lie? Because not only because they purposely trying to hide something, what if they're just ignorant and they don't know? What if we looking at an old ancient, right? Mind you, this is all in the same place. Huh? The mountains are carved. Why couldn't Faja Butte, huh, be an ancient living temple dwelling? Because we know for a fact it does what other temples and dwellings did. It's aligned with the cardinal seasons and tell time. Hmm? I'm not saying that's for sure, but why it do the same thing that every other temple do? I don't know. You got to put that together on your own, right? But that's for sure, right? But hold on, let me get back down her, because this is why we different, right? They saying that Pangea stuff happened. Watch this. 100 million, 125 million years ago. I'm telling you, that stuff is only 24,000 years ago, the same time that the Great Deluge happened, and a cataclysmic genetobotanic event, which caused people to go into the areas, right, where we now find the greatest groups of Aboriginal peoples, uh, Asia, India, Africa, America. This is why the people are predominantly Negroidal and copper color melanated in all those regions. Not saying that they didn't have other colors, but they're nonetheless Negroidal, nonetheless Aboriginal, nonetheless iron, nonetheless mound builder stock, just over there. This is why, because of food, because of initial phenotypes that had already been set on the continent 4 times bigger than Africa, that is now the floor of the Pacific. Yep. The same thing that pushed the continent in the shelf up under the American shelf, and then push the Arctic one up under the Arctic, and push the Asian one up under Asia. Yeah. Y'all should have seen the Pacific plate. It was very little. And if I'm being just recalling in my mind off the maps, it is what we would call today Hawaii, and would have been the biggest island. You would have listened. Hawaii would have been in the air. What y'all got to understand is Hawaii is a mountain. It's an island, right? one-time volcano, whatever. What is it sitting on? Sitting on the floor of the Pacific. So imagine the Pacific floor being above the ground. How high would the land be? Be massive. It'd be the biggest mountain in the world. That island would turn into a mountain because it's shooting to the air. Gotta understand what's really going on. Right? Y'all may not know. Cosmon stay up on everything. Even if I'm not going live, I'm studying, I'm working, putting in work. Believe that. So that 100 million years ago today saying that the broke up for Pangea and all that by the greater Gadol degree, it's nothing but 24,000 years ago. This does the same thing again when you use it to find the lesser time, my man. You dig what I'm saying? Bless you. So you dig what I'm saying? I ain't gonna beat them to death. We just gonna go ahead and talk, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, chill for a minute. You dig what I'm saying? Anybody want to get on? You want to hop on? I'll kick it for a minute. I ain't got to go up there to 9. I'll hop on, man. We can talk. It's just funny at the same time that we saying Pan went down, right? And using the carbon dating and then turn around and applying a new understanding to it, it leads us to the same date, whether you use the carbon dating or not. This is why we don't throw the carbon dating away, right? I don't got enough money to just keep doing carbon dating and shooting that stuff out there. No. I can apply it because you dig what I'm talking about. It's a generalization. We know it's not for sure. But if you use the cosmetic rates on it, right? Sun, moon, you dig what I'm talking about, and apply time, not only put you in a place and a time, you can tell you what happened. So, for instance, 100 million years ago, carbon dated is actually only 24,000 years ago. Smack dab when we in the Laurentine glacial maximum. What caused it? The sinking of time. Anybody want to come on? Huh? Nigga don't come on for a minute. Y'all don't even want to come kick it with your boy, man. God damn. I'm starting to feel away. Yeah, man. I'll be wanting to chop it up too. But that brings me to let me see. Hold on a second. That brings me to this. Hold on. This. Well, bless you. Bless you. Now, I'm going ahead, kick back. You dig what I'm saying? Bless you, dang. I'm gonna go ahead and kick back, man. Blaze up some of this Kit Kat. You dig what I'm talking about? If you don't know, you best know. I got some maple syrup Kit Kat, nigga. You ain't even never heard of it. So you dig what I'm talking about? Tap in like Arrow Flynn. You dig what I'm saying? It's the only way you can win. Shout out to the gang. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here if ain't nobody know. Come on in, chop it with they cutting button now. You dig what I'm talking about? But salute everybody for coming through. Dig what I'm talking about? Let me see. Hold on, let me see. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna give them a second. If they want to come in, I'm gonna bang this Check out this Brown show. Damn. Okay, I had the mic muted. Come back up, bro. Your mic and your cam wasn't connected. It wasn't allowing me to let you up without your device connected. I seen you though. Shout out Bishop X. You dig what I'm saying? I know there's a brand new understanding being brought, a new light, a higher light being precipitated on the planet. You dig what I'm talking about? I dropped a in Owaspy, right? Everybody else, quote unquote, religion talks about prophecy. Owaspy turns around and teaches you how to prophesy. And that is multiple ways to do it. But the most beneficial part, right, that I think that I learned in that was that it's not guesswork. Huh? If you're a real prophet, you did that with foreknowledge. Wasn't no spooky, nobody had to overtake you, no God had to give you anything, no entity took over your mind. That's not what prophecy is. It don't work like that. Period. Right? So that idea that I personally received through Christian teaching and the modern religious ideology, I got that understanding through modern religion. You dig what I'm talking about? I ain't gonna put it on even one single denomination. I'm just saying, for the most part, they connected anyway because they call themselves Abrahamic. Right. So the point out one is really oxymoronic until you really want to get into it and you want to know. All right. Well then, all right, here you go. Bishop X on the flex. What's the word, Jelly Bird?
How you doing, boss man?
How you doing, brother?
Good.
Man.
All right, so I had a question because you made a comment earlier, something about how they do how they're withholding information. Because I find it hard to believe that the scientists and those that are in the know have not read the Owaspy and looked at the physics, the mathematics, and everything that is discussed. I find that so hard to believe that they don't integrate a lot of the theories that are in the Owaspy in science, or if they are, they're just not talking about it.
Right. No, your inspiration is right on deck. Let me tell you this. We have a faithist brother named Hugh Rose who wrote a book in 1984. He worked for he graduated from Honeycutt, he graduated from college, went to Honeycutt, and then worked for NASA. In 1984, this man wrote a whole manual of a book on cosmology of Owaspy and gave it to NASA. That's the whole point of the book of Q Rose's book of cosmology was to write it to give this understanding to NASA. They didn't had this stuff since 84. Listen, wasn't until about 90, 91 that they started catching on to like, what the, and all through the 90s, you come up with these think tanks. Now we have a whole science called the vortex science. That popped up around 98-ish.
Right. I see a lot of videos on the internet. I mean, do you, in your view, are people, there's a lot of books, there's a lot of internet chat about it, there's a lot of videos out there about it, but in your view, in your studies, do you think that these guys and the people out there, women, whoever, are they pulling that information from Owaspy, or are they just coming up with it, or what do you think?
Okay, I think many scientists, in the hopes of trying to tell as much truth as they can, still give it through their own ideological point of view, right? And but with that, they unwittingly tell truths. The fact that Creator is coming objectively to only prove things that objectively can be proved leads credence to what happens and what Owaspy has to say. It puts weight and credence behind his words. I don't think that many are I'll say, I don't think the majority are trying. I'm not saying that none don't hide this information or have it and are pulling little pieces from it, because I kind of think, I'm starting to really think, and I did a bunch of shows on my man, and his name is slipping my mind right this second. Wow, his name is slipping my mind, but he did a lot of the early work in 1926 on spiral energy, the elemental charts, and his name is mom, Walter Russell, and like this. Listen, this brother he's so on point. He's so on point. Either he has to be inspired by certain angelic beings that are inherent to, bless you, that are inherent to the Great Spirit, because he's so on point, but he's not, right? He doesn't have the wording ain't quite right. Right. And this is why I kind of lend the guys credence, because sometimes I believe that they're just inspired. Right. I believe that they're just inspired. They're getting what they're getting, and they're trying to make sense out of what they're seeing, and they're just telling truth. It may go flat then, but hundreds of years later, guys like us go and get the scratching. Go and get the, you know what I mean? Grandma always told us, you know what I mean? Find the lie, scratch the lie, find the devil. You dig what I'm talking about? So anywhere, and this is what I do know. Many scientists tell the truth, but they get lambasted in peer reviews. Oh man, if you don't say what your benefactor wants you to say, boy, you could lose your whole career, get blackballed. You can't get another tenure nowhere. So they be in fear to tell the truth because of peer review sometimes too. You dig what I'm talking about? So you gotta give credence to the dudes who like they call pseudo or spooky. You dig what I'm talking about? Like the Graham Hancocks of the world and all these people who do this different type of work, but get fried in the mainstream right now. Right? But guess what? They fried Tesla at the turn of the century. Was he right though? Yeah. Huh? Yeah, it was a brother who made the plane 6 years before the Wright brothers killed him and stole it. They lived on the same road with him, grew up with him. Brother created the plane. Yep. So they laughed and ridiculed him. Was he right? Yeah. You dig what I'm talking about? But then so we got to remember they tell truths, half truths, and untruths. They and then give you misinformation and disinformation with the information. And that's that social media. There's one thing that Bible talk about that I agree with, and they call it the double-edged sword. This thing talk out of both sides of its mouth. It'll give you life and kill you. All in one little box.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've been tapping in with you guys for a while, and I appreciate the light you bringing out. You, Sela, Malachi, Daryl, all you guys. But I had to ask tonight because in my research of this of the Vortexian physics of the things that are talked about in the OWASP prior to general science bringing it out, it just makes me sit back and wonder how many of them were either tapping into the O or tapping into the higher sources to get this to connect the dots, to connect the dots.
A lot of them were, and then we see. Remember, it started before JBN was aware of what was going on. The whole spiritual movement started 1848. Kardec and all them was masters by 1952. So by time your boy JBN does his little thingy thing in 1882, it's not so far-fetched. Remember the same year, another guy wrote the Aquarian Gospel. Purportedly from higher sources also. Same year. Oh, but OWASP came out 1882. It was published 1882, but it was written right on time in 1881, 33 years after 1848. That's what they didn't have. They didn't have the timing. See, a lot of this with the spiritual world and the physical world is about timing and frequency, right? And being able to tune and tap in, right? And tons of people were doing it. But that doesn't negate, or it begs to ask the question, firstly, who's talking and what is the merit of the conversation? You know? Yeah, bunches of people were tapping in. They gave bunches of shit, and it's all proven to be false. All of it. Why I liked it, OWASP. I'm going to go out here and put it this. I had never seen a book purportedly to be from a god or a spiritual system or whatever. I'd never seen it say that the words that are within it are not immaculate. I never seen a book say it could be flawed. Why? Because it's a book and it come through men. Boom. It just made so much sense. I'd never seen, because then that made with the understanding of God that I had at the time, right? That means that God could make a mistake. Well, if God can make a mistake, that ain't the creator. We know creator don't make no mistakes. Well, then who the hell is this nigga then? that's making these mistakes in this book. Because thou shalt not kill was clear. But now you can't tell me remember when the Amalekites came upon you after Egypt? Go kill the women, the children. No, you can't tell me that. That can't be the same guy. That was hard for me to rationalize at first till I got it. Why? Because not immaculate is Owaspy, and Owaspy saying it's coming from Creator. Well, then if Owaspy ain't immaculate, ain't none of them immaculate. Uh-oh. So now it ain't about the book. Now it's about what it's saying. Not immaculate is this book, Owaspy. What is its purpose? To teach men, me, you, how to attain to hear the Creator's voice in times of darkness like it is right now, right? Men call that voice their conscience. That's why it ain't never been wrong. But the whole purpose of Owaspy is to teach you how to tune in to hear the Creator's voice and to what? See. You can only see with your eyes open. So he ain't talking about being asleep. He ain't talking about being on your knees praying. And to see his heavens in full consciousness. I ain't got to take no drinks. I ain't got to do Molly water. I ain't got to do no shrooms. I ain't got to do none of that. To see it. Not only to hear that voice, that little small voice, Owaspy says is here to teach you how to turn that thing up. Huh? It's here to teach you how to see his heavens in full consciousness. While you riding down the street, while you watching a football game. You ain't got to die to see it while still living on earth. And to know, this is a benefit too right here, and to know in truth, not to believe, not to assume, to know in truth. What you gonna know in truth? The place and condition, waiting for you after your death. That's the whole point of Owaspy. It ain't here to teach you shit else. What else you get up out of it, you did what I'm talking about. Yeah, it got the histories of the earth and world and all that stuff in there. You ain't got to believe none of that. But check into this stuff that teaches you how to hear the voice and to see the heaven, right? Because it's people who grown men, been through all type of mess and wars in these streets, who standing on this. We ain't no punks, cowards, sissies. Who telling you, because we following what they're saying, there are spiritual and physical results or effects that come from listening to what the book say. That if you try it, it works. That's all I'm saying. And then that stuff, right? Which will, if you was in the scene, right? If you was an Israelite, to be a Nazarene would be that step up spiritually, to affect you, to step you up physically. And today, that next step, right, is the understanding of Owaspy, or all earth, sky and spirit. What else is there? So you're going to know where you're going to go when you're going to die. You'll be able to see the heavens while you still living on earth and hear the creator voice. If any one of them things can be done or can be accomplished from reading this book, do y'all believe that it's a worthwhile read? If you say so, say if you think so, say hit me with a yes in the chat. Yes. If you think it's not worth a read, if it can in fact do anything that it's saying about making you hear the voice, see the heavens while you're still living on earth, and not in no spooky state while you're still conscious, and teach you how to know for a fact where you're going to go after you die. If it can do any of those things, right, would it be a worthwhile read? Yes or no? Hit me in the chat. You dig what I'm talking about? What you think, Bishop? If it could do any of the claims that it say it's here to do, would you think that would be not just a beneficial read for black folks, but for all people?
Well, I grew up in church all my life. I got my first Bible in 1978, so I've been reading that book for a long time. And I don't know if you've been paying attention to some of the things I'll put in the chat on the various chats that you guys have, but my view on the Bible is, if you read Joshua chapter 1 verse 8, when biblical Yahweh was talking to Joshua, he says, "This book of the law shall not depart out of your mouth, but you'll meditate on it in it day and night, and observe to do everything according to what's written in it, and then you'll make your way prosperous, and then you'll have good success." So on that basis alone, I look at the Bible like it's a book of law. Now, when it starts to get into some other things that we know, it's been heavily redacted, heavily altered over the years by the ecumenical councils and others who've had their fingers in it over time. It's given me pause to ask, like you said, who is it? Is it the deity that's speaking through the man, or was it men altering the story to fit their narrative as a control mechanism?
So Owaspi's saying both things happen, and for different reasons. Some men are thought to think that they are doing it on their own, that they're not inspired. What you're on to, and I want to assure you that you're exactly correct when your bloodhound sense that there's something about this is right on right on point. Damn it, I was going with somewhere. Say what was we talking about again?
Just like, okay, so for example, like when the biblical narrative starts talking about things that happen in what the WASP calls Etheria, right? A lot of that narrative has been cut out. For example, in Genesis 6, when it starts talking about what the Sumerians call the Anunnaki, the Bible calls them Nephilim. When it starts talking about how etheric beings come to corporea to cohabitate with humans to create a hybrid race. Now, that narrative is mentioned in, of course, Genesis 6, but it's the book of Enoch, which is mentioned in the Bible, but some copies of that were in the original printings of the Bible, then others were taken out. Why? Because
how about the simple fact that same narrative, that some entity came up out of the sky, either interbred with man or created man, is in every and all the oldest.
But why suppress it?
Period.
Why suppress it?
Well, because what we got to understand is, and what Owaspy reveals to us kind of coldly also, is that the biblical narrative that we got today is a purposely told lie. It's told as a lie on purpose to hide right? And persuade not the generation that it was made in, generations far, far ahead of it, just being told just a little bit above man's understanding, right? To quiet down the lower rumblings, but also still try to aspire him to whatever he wants him to be. We got to understand that just because it come out of this book and just because it says it comes from quote unquote God, that it's not necessarily the truth for you, being that every so-called spiritual system was allowed, even the negative ones, right? Christianity, Buddhism, Brahmanism, Muhammadism were all allowed to flourish because in the end they even served a purpose to the Great Spirit, right? They are allowed to run their way. And you dig what I'm saying? You gotta kind of think about it like this. I had to step back out of myself and ask, like, let's just say I was the creator, right? Or let's just say I'm the father, right? I got kids, right? Let's say I got two sons. One is, CEO at IBM. You know what I mean? And the other one is a thug in prison. Which one of them am I not going to give to? I'm going to give to both, right? They're going to be different types of giving, but I'm going to pour into both. I'm never going to cut you off, right? Same thing the Father does, the Creator does, right? They go away from Him. He don't go away from them. They can't escape Him. In fact, right? But I had to stop and think about that. You know what I mean? Which son wouldn't I give to? Right? And that right there shows you that God couldn't have created uh 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 Satan.
You bring up some valid points. I got my paper copy of the OWASP about 3 years ago, so I've been reading it and chiming in with you guys and tapping in with others online that talk about the book. But I didn't know about it before 3 years ago, but I read it with the Bible, with the Quran, with the Buddha Sutras, with the other narratives out there, and I see read view, and you do an excellent job of that. But in my view, my perspective of reading those other books has changed because of distinguishing the gods from the creator.
And look, and this is what OWASP does. I have always called it the great decoder. It's not here to destroy any religion. It's not religion at all. Even as the God says, I'm not here as a dictator to tell you what you should do, nigga. I'm here as an elder brother with ample experience. Take heed. That's on the cover. That's on the cover. I ain't even making that. Hold on. Hold on. Let me show you. Let me go back to this real quick. This is on the cover. Watch. Here you go. Watch here. Look, your God does not come in this era as a dictator, but as your elder brother, not the father. So God ain't the father. God is the brother. That changes the dichotomy right there.
Yeah, and that right there, when you say that to a lot of Christians, if they are not open-minded, then automatically they will, like you were saying earlier in your presentation tonight, they'll shut it down and they'll demonize it and they'll dismiss it.
Yeah. But that don't mean we should stop telling the exact truth. But as also, we intelligent people, and if you are truthfully in your heart calling the highest ideal that you can express God, then he understands that you're talking to him, the creator.
Fair enough.
Name doesn't even matter.
Yep.
The name don't matter.
Because it changes throughout antiquity depending on who's doing the translation too. That's
Who talking?
Yeah.
The same God at the same time got different names because different people is calling upon the name that they have different languages.
That's why. Okay, so on that basis, in your view, do you think there's a difference between the language that's spoken and the heart of the intent of the one who's speaking?
Yes, there can be. Because the language can be looked at through their point of view. It becomes subjective instead of being objectively based like most Eastern religions are. You dig what I'm talking about? Even when they talk about ruach or spirit, they tie it to something real that you can't see, your breath. You see what I'm saying? When in Western religion, it's more esoteric and subjective.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Look, but look what he say. He say, nor do I command you, saying you shall believe, because I, your God, have said it or revealed it in this book. So what, right off tops, what they told us God was and was going to do when he came back, in a sense, right? He ain't doing. And not only is he not doing, he's not in the persona, in fact, that they told he was. They told us he was the father. When in fact, he the brother. Wait a minute. The ancient Indians had a system where they never praised a god. They praised the Great Spirit, but they understood that the unseen part of man goes on after him. They called that manito. Huh? They called the creator Gichi. Huh? So those who act in ordinance with Gichi, huh? Or the sons of Gichi are Gichi Manito. A god, not Gichi. Even God is part of Gichi, the creator. And it's through its attribute that we name him. Right? He creates. He destroys. Right? So this is why it's negative, positive, up, down, male, female, even in Yahweh. It's male and female parts. You dig what I'm talking about? And in a sense, we're still talking about the breath. Even when they told you in a WASP that he commanded man to name him. Man named him after things that weren't on the earth. Necessary, felt, but not seen. And he called him after the sounds of the wind. Or wah. Just depending on who you talking to. I'm saying that wah is smack dab in the middle of our country still. So this is why I didn't want to really pin it down in one simple conversation with Shanetta and the pod, because man, they gone. You know what they about to do. You know what I mean?
Everybody's got their own thoughts, but bro, I don't want to hog up too much time. I appreciate you letting me come in, man. Keep sharing that light, bro. You guys are doing an awesome job just sharing what you know about the book, because it's new for a lot of people, and I appreciate you guys putting it out there objectively so people can read it and develop their own thoughts on what it means. But yeah, I appreciate you, and keep sharing your light, bro.
Yeah, and before you go, I wanted something that's telling me to tell you this. Owaspy is meant to be read with the other systems. We're not telling you to block out any other. In fact, we're telling you the opposite. Read them all.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's why I don't understand why people. I mean, to me, there's really no debate, because it doesn't negate any other system out there. It adds to them, and it gives another perspective. In my view.
Yeah, it gives it a different understanding, right? And your position in the overall world view, or view in Owaspy, or how you play into what's coming and what's going on. It just gives you a different way of looking at it, but it makes you recognize that with this great responsibility and knowledge that comes with that realization, right? With that knowledge comes power, but with that power comes great responsibility. You dig what I'm saying?
That is true. That is true.
And if I'm not mistaken, wait a minute. Ain't that what it say right here? Yet with your freedom, well, you have a corporeal body, a spiritual body. Hear me, and I will open your understanding. I come to free not only the corporeal man, but the spiritual man. Yet with your freedom.
On that.
Wow.
See, on that, do you think a lot of people don't get it because they're not open to the higher light and that spirit body? They want to stay stuck on their own system without embracing another aspect of truth that may be out there that they haven't been exposed to yet?
Yes and no, because I believe there are people who are searching, who just don't know, who once they hear it, it starts to make sense to them, right? And they're in that light, it that soul food cooking sit a little well in their stomach. They get it. You know what I mean? They get it right off the top. Oh, wait a minute, that's a little paprika right there. That's a little
right.
No, that's a little onion powder right there. I know what that is. Some people get it, and some people it's kind of like a seed. It's not like you're gonna get it immediately. It kind of latches onto you, hovers around you. You know what I mean? Truth kind of just be shining light in the dark place somewhere. You dig what I'm saying? And it's kind of like a seed, and sooner or later it germinates. And
I gotta be honest with you, bro. Sorry to cut you off, but I gotta be. If I would have came across this book 20 years ago, it would have went way over my head. It would have went way over my head. But the thing is, when I came into the Israelite knowledge and I started looking at the Bible from that perspective, the blinders fell off. But then one of the cats in your group, Mally, when he started reading it and connecting the dots with the Israelite narrative and the Essene Faithist narrative and the Nazarene literature, then I started looking at it from a whole new perspective as well.
Right. And see, you wouldn't have known that until the connection could be made. This is what I was trying to bring out. The other part is that some people, it's yes and no, because some people are geared towards the light, right? Some people can just get it. Some people can't get it. No, it don't matter how much you show them. They literally are not in the mind and spiritual place that they can comprehend what they're being brought.
Okay. On that note,
and go ahead.
No, seriously. In your years reading the Owaspy, who would you say falls in that category more often than not?
What do you mean?
They just don't get it. Either they refuse it, they reject it because they just want to hold on to that Bible, or they want to hold on to that Quran, they want to hold on to the other narratives.
In my experiences, it's all people, man. That just, but it's not even for the reason you would think. It's not because they want to do what God say. For the most part, that's fear, right? They're doing that because of fear. They do it for the most part, in my understanding, that they would rather be right than righteous. They don't want to, they'll never take an honest look at it until they're forced. Right? Owaspy also say there are some people who don't get it till they don't get the snake is venomous till they get bit by it. They get the fangs. That's the only way that they get it. They got to go to prison first. They gotta go through the hard knock. You dig what I'm talking about? They just can't get it. You dig what I'm talking about? Some people gotta get that experience firsthand. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is why it's kind of like a seed, because in the end of the day, truth is truth. It don't need Cosmon. It don't need Owaspy. Don't need nothing. Right? Everything that I'm saying is objective. And you're going to smack into it in life one way or other. Long as you can remember what's being said, it'll recall itself. We have perfect memory, especially when we hurt or sick or something. So them seeds come back. Man, I heard that somewhere before. Who was saying that? That was Cosmon and Bishop X. Yup. That was said that about the yup. I had never seen that till woo. You know how many people come back and tell me that, Cosmon? You know what, cuz I thought you was on bullshit 3-4 years ago.
Well, in Bible it says that. It says some plant, others water, but he gets the increase. That's how it works.
He gives the increase. The life, right? Is from Jah. That's from the Creator. You dig what I'm talking about? He do that.
Right on.
I'm Johnny Appleseed. I don't make the seed or do nothing. I just throw it out there.
Yeah. It's his word. Let him increase it.
Come on, man. He don't need me. Not really. You dig what I'm saying? No, he don't need me. He was gonna have C-Law, Mally, and Daryl either way. So I'm glad that I'm here. You dig what I'm talking about? I'm appreciative that I was one of them ones called. You dig what I'm talking about? So this is why I always shoot straight like I do. This is why I'm always playing with people.
Right.
That's why I try to break it down. You dig what I'm talking about? So everybody can get it. Because I was at a point where I couldn't get it. I couldn't. It don't matter if you the fire hot Cosmon, huh? Fire hot Cosmon, huh? Fire hot Cosmon. I stick my hand in the fire. Oh, why you didn't tell me the fire was hot? I did tell you the fire was hot. You ain't believe me till you had the actual experience, and at that point you gained knowledge. Knowledge at that point became power because it set you free. Because now you know you don't believe it's hot. You know that mug hot. You ain't never sticking your hand up in there no more. That is why knowledge is power. That extends not only to the physical world, but to the spiritual world. That's why we whoop ass over here. We take them little demons and druids and slap them around over here. We got listen, you got faithist groups out here that's really like almost like Ghostbusters, bro.
I got it. There's a lot of Druja energy out there, man.
What? Shout out to the OG Pete. Shout out to the OG Peter, the brother Paul and them. Bro, they really be doing real exorcisms. Bro, that stuff is. Listen, till you see it, it's hard to believe.
No, I've seen it. That's the thing. I've seen it, and I've seen it from Bible perspective, but reading the OWASP's giving me another way to look at all books now, and I see stuff that I didn't see before because of the perspective that it gives one.
And you know what? One perspective it gives me too that I look totally different at now. Schizophrenia and these issues where people tell you they hear voices. I look at that stuff totally different now.
Christians call that spiritual warfare.
Yeah. In a sense, they're not wrong, because if that thing that is inspiring you is negatively inspiring to hurt you, well then, So
yeah, are what spirit
are you crazy or is it crazy?
Well, I would ask the question: are you being led by the spirit of the Creator or one of these false gods out there?
Well, this is a quick way of telling y'all, right? OWASP gives you this understanding. The Creator is always light, right? And his actions and his results is always light. It's not the dark. Even though he creates the dark, he don't do it. So if in this instance, if the action is light, then you can in a sense say that's the Creator. But just like in that instance, the action is dark. Now somebody losing their life, somebody getting hurt, somebody losing something. Then that is not of the Creator. Right? So it's a simple way. And this is why when these spiritual beings come to you, we don't tell you to run away from it. We don't laugh at you like it's not real either. We know you telling the truth.
Well, the darkness can't exist where the light is. That's it.
What? Light comes from dark, sir. The photon, which you can't see, produces light you can. The thing is that there's the lie that they make up is that there's nothing there. It's all things there, which means all things are potential. That's why they call the energy there that you can't see potential energy. Another proof that all is all. And the always was, is, and ever shall be. The dope part about it is the proof is that it's all in motion. Because they say that's the Creator's speech.
Good words, brother. Good words, bro. I appreciate you, cousin. I'm gonna tap out now, but thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Keep keeping that content coming, brother. Keep it on
all the time, man. You dig what I'm talking about? I'm trying to figure out a little schedule, man. They got me they whooping on me a little bit. Like a Hebrew slave for real. They whooping on me. You dig what I'm saying? But somebody got to make the donut. So I'm trying to figure out a little time where I can get on here and just drop some lessons, or maybe I have to pre-record them or something. But trust me, you dig what I'm talking about. It's too much information not to be shared. I couldn't hold this back. I wouldn't hold it back. I would, you know what I mean? But the more I get of y'all, the more I get. So you dig what I'm talking about? Love, light, and balance out there to you, brother. You dig what I'm saying? I can't even see the what. Oh, dang. Shout out to everybody tapping in, man. Share out the live, man. Thumb up the video. You dig what I'm talking about? What's good? Oh, that's Taz. What up, Taz? Gang in this thing. You dig what I'm talking about? Some perhaps don't want to get it. Yeah. Books aren't perfect. But the great. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Books aren't perfect, but Jehovah, now. Woo! Neither shall you from this time forth swear by any book under the sun, including OWASP, nor by any God, Lord, Savior, Spirit, idol, or image. Gotta hit that with a You know what I mean? We gotta hit that bug with her. All right. In a nutshell, man. Well, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Love, light, balance, man. We gonna go shake the spot. As always, man. Y'all breathe in. Let that light in. Cosmon, Nama.
Shout out to Cosmon Cow. Cosmon Cow, boy, I'm going to tell you something. He is a problem. He is a problem when it comes to these Hebrew Israelites. Y'all better stop playing. He is a problem. Cosmon Cow is a problem. Creator gang gang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the gang coming, creator gang coming. Turning up the light and watch some boys start running. Let me tell you something, we ain't out here doing nothing. I can tell you scared, boy, niggas stop fronting. It was all in the plan.
Creator gang is crazy. Boy, y'all better pay attention.
We fight as a single, impenetrable unit. That is the source of our strength.